All right, guys, welcome to Follow Up Boss product update. So we're going to talk to you about all the awesome things that have happened in the fourth quarter of 2021. And I'm joined today. My name is Lee Adkins. I'm the head of growth at Amplified Solutions. I'm joined today my co-host, Caroline Becherer. How are you, Caroline?
Hello, I'm well. Thank you for having me on this very special webinar.
Awesome. Yeah, super excited. We're doing a little bit early because there's so many great features. We couldn't wait for the quarter to even end before we dive in. So,
That's
Caroline,
right, packed schedule.
yeah, for sure. Why don't you tell a little bit about, and also we've got Paul, Hallie, and Bridget in the chat. They'll be helping to answer your questions. Please drop your questions in the Q&A so we can manage them. If you want to drop us a chat, that's great. We're happy to try to get those, but in the chat, they get lost. So if you could drop them in the Q&A, we'll be sure we get you an answer. We also always record these sessions. They're streamed live to the Follow Up Boss Success community. So you can watch them there anytime from right now until the end of time. I send out an email at the end once the recording is up on YouTube. There's a playlist on YouTube of all of the office hours and product updates. We sent out in the Friday Follow Up Boss email. So you've got options. We'll be sure you get it. But thanks for hopping on. Caroline, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do at Follow Up Boss, and then we will dive right in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Caroline. I'm a product manager here at Follow Up Boss. So, one of the coolest parts of my job is I get to talk to you guys and hear about how you're using Follow Up Boss and what you'd like to see and how we can make it better. And then, we use that information to decide, what we should build and how we should build it and in what order. And so, this is a really exciting webinar because we kind of get to show off all that work that we've done in this Q4, all thanks to all of your feedback.
Very cool. Yeah, and I just want to reiterate how much the team really listens to your guys' suggestions and your needs. You guys are the one using it on a daily basis. And we all love to get your feedback and love to execute. So that's why we have these webinars. So if you guys could just answer real quick in the poll, it's really helpful for us to understand who's on, who our audience is. And we'll go ahead and dig in a bit here. So pretty exciting for the first thing. I'll let you tee it off, Caroline, but the first thing is going to be video texting.
Yes, video texting. Yeah, super excited. I love kicking this webinar off with this feature. This was like the most requested feature that you guys, that we were hearing from you guys. So really excited that we got this one across the finish line and that you can start using it. So I guess kind of just like a quick overview, video texting is a way to record and send videos to your leads using the Follow Up Boss mobile app. So on both of the mobile apps, you'll have the option to record a video or choose a video from your library of videos. And what's great about this is it really gives you that opportunity to, stand out and make like a very personal connection with your contacts. One of the great parts about video texting is that you can see if they've actually watched the video and that they've engaged with it. So you can kind of like do your own little testing on like what's working well, what's not, who's really engaged. So you'll see that right in the app. And, as we've been rolling this out, like we've found that there's some pretty important like best practices that you should be adhering to with sending video text. So I think we have a link that we're going to drop in the chat here about all these best practices, but this is just a good opportunity to kind of go over them as a group as well. So the first thing, like the most important piece to keep in mind with the video texting is that this is best for warm outreach. So, for those relationships that are already established, as opposed to being like brand new cold leads. So, that's going to, if you're reaching out to the folks that you've already, kind of been in communication with, you have that established relationship, you're not only going to have like the best deliverability of these messages, but you're really going to get like the best responses and get the most out of them. So that's the first thing I kind of wanted to point out there. With the cold texting, like if you were to send this to a brand new lead, it's like a new lead that comes in and the first thing that you do is send a video. it's possible that that could be marked as spam by the carriers. So just keep that in mind, that that's why we really want to use this for like that warm outreach. And, it helps, the people that you're working with get like a little bit of a taste of your personality and that kind of thing. One of the best, or I guess two of the best ways that I've seen this used, and maybe Lee has some other good examples here, is like if you're already, as like maybe a follow-up to like an initial phone call or text message conversation, it's really good to like follow up some of those communications with that video text, maybe like thanking them for their time or saying, like very excited to work with you, that kind of thing. So those are just kind of some of the best practices that we've come across in these like early stages of the video texting.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. I think keeping it short, especially as you start, just a short, quick, hey, great to talk to you guys. I can't wait to, meet you on Thursday at our appointment, kind of a confirmation follow-up. Ultimately, yeah, sure, you could use it for a house tour or things like that. I think, one of the great things is that, you guys all have great ideas because you're using this in the field already. But I think if you're struggling to adopt video, if that's on your 22 list of doing more video, this is a real simple, quick way to just get into that, whether it's yeah, like I said, a follow-up thing, or just otherwise a really quick, or if you set an appointment that's a couple of weeks out, maybe send it the day before the appointment and say, hey, look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Be sure you, whatever, have your, it's a bad example, have your deed handy or whatever the thing is that you need at your appointment. But definitely a great way to just follow up with people that are warmer.
Yeah, and in this like very virtual world, if you're going to meet them in person for the first time, I think a video is like a really great way to do the intro and they know who you are when you show up. So I think that's like a really good point to make, Lee. The other thing I wanted to mention here is if you haven't yet, if you have been ignoring the orange bar in your follow-up boss account that says register your business profile, there's no time like the present. This is a great reason to go ahead and register your business profile. What that does is it kind of ties your company name to your phone numbers, and that way carriers know that like you're established, and that's going to make sure that you all your video texts are going through and not getting caught by like spam filters and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great point because that does register the numbers with the carrier.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you've got the orange bar, click through it. If not, I believe it's what under company at or admin company,
That's
Caroline?
right. It's
Okay.
under the company tab, admin company, and then it's the business registration. And it should only take you, 3-4 minutes to fill out max. So yeah, really good time to do that right now.
Great. There's a couple, if you guys could drop questions in the Q&A, that would be helpful. I see a bunch in the chat and it's they're already off the screen. Caroline, is video texting possible on desktop?
Yeah, that's a great question. So your video text, you'll send them from your mobile device, and that's where you can record the videos too. So you'll send them from your mobile device, but you will see them on the desktop in the timeline. So you'll see the video that you've sent there in the timeline so that you can get that whole like cohesive conversation from desktop.
Cool, perfect. And Gary's got a question about linking to the BombBomb library. So you can't, Caroline, you're probably better to tackle this, but you can access the BombBomb library obviously through the system. I don't think you can at this time text a BombBomb video through the follow-up boss texting.
Exactly. Yeah, your BombBomb library will be separate, but I know BombBomb has like some plugins and things like that, so you can always like grab the link and send it that way. But the library will be the videos that are on your device already or that you've already recorded using the app.
Yeah, I think the issue is the texting. I know that's what everybody wants. They want to be able to text the BombBomb video. So we're getting there. 2022.
Yep.
I probably shouldn't say that since I have no control over that, but cool. Here's another great question on this. The GIF images on BombBomb. Does Follow Boss have plans to add, kind of the preview style thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is definitely a new feature. And so we definitely want to keep building upon it. So, there's a lot of things that we can do here, but mostly really excited to hear how you guys are using it and like what's working really well. And as I kind of mentioned before, that helps us kind of steer like what we do next and how we do that. So certainly that idea has come up. But yeah, just make sure you keep sitting in the feedback.
Right. Perfect. And one more quick thing, and then we'll move on because we got a lot of features we got to cover. But somebody just asked about recording before you send it. And so the short answer is yes. In essence, I'm guessing the question is around, can I proof it? Like it's not live, right? Like I'm gonna make it and then say, yeah, that's good, send. Is that accurate, Caroline?
Yeah, exactly. So it's not, yeah, it's not like a live stream or anything like that. You can record it and then you can say like, I want to start over, or you can even record it and just like save it to your library and send it later. Yeah. So you'll have the option to scratch whatever you've recorded initially.
Perfect. And one more quick question I just want to tackle
Sure.
before we move on. These are not a part of action plans. They're not connected to action plans in any way. This is still actually a manual send text. It's just got a video baked into the text, but these are not in any way connected to action plans at this point in time.
Yep, exactly right. So these will just be those manual sends. And again, the idea is that you're giving that like very personal touch and you're introducing yourself and you're saying their names. I think that's like what's really powerful, like with this feature and going to give you the best responses.
Perfect. Awesome. And we'll be sure you guys have questions. We'll be sure those get answered, but we got to jump over to some team inbox improvements, which are also pretty awesome.
Yeah, super excited about the team inbox improvement. So if you're not using the team inbox, like very high level, team inbox gives you the ability to collaborate on your inbound communications. It gives you, the ability to have your whole team collaborate on those same communications. And, obviously one of the most important parts about inbound communications, especially calls, is that they're being answered. So this quarter, we made some improvements to make sure that all of your calls are getting answered and nothing slipping through the cracks. So we made a handful of improvements here. The first one we did, it was really around like making sure that you can delegate all of the calls to whoever you need to do. So previously we had like a 10-person limit on who could receive inbound calls. So if you had a bigger team or you were wanting to like spread that out a bit more, that was a little bit limiting. So what we've done is we've upped that limit to 50 people. So now, you have up to 50 people to call when there's an inbound call. And, ideally that improves the odds of that getting answered and not going to voicemail. The second thing that we did is we are preventing calls from prematurely going to voicemail. So if you have a bunch of people on your team inbox and, previously if someone was getting called and they rejected that call, it could, send the lead to voicemail where really there was other people that were available to maybe take that call. So what we've done is we've added the option to have like a, press 1 to answer for particular people. So that's like per user that you can do that. So if you have a bunch of folks in your team inbox and there's someone who is, particularly busy or are often on the phone or on the go, it would be a good idea to turn that on for them. That way they're not sending anyone to voicemail prematurely. And then the last thing that we did is kind of simple, but also very powerful, is we've just upped the ring time. So, to help you have more time to get to those calls, we've increased the ring time from like that standard ring time up, I believe, like, five more seconds or something like that. So, there's no like big noticeable change for the people that are calling in, but it's going to give you guys that opportunity to have like a bit more time to get to the call and make sure it gets answered.
Yeah, that's great. If you're not using Team Inbox yet, give it a shot, test it out, try it. Maybe if you have an in-person team meeting, try it when you're all together as maybe a great way to kind of show everybody how it works. I think, this is another feature. I know I've said this before on some of these sessions, but I think people don't understand it until they understand it. So they kind of start to use it and they're like, oh, this is great. I can ring out everybody and whoever's available can get it. There's been a lot of improvements, like we just went through. but it's really a great feature. One other interesting feature of this is that you can live transfer to a team inbox. So if you have an ISA and they're trying to get a lead out to actually transfer to the first available agent, it's a great use for this. You can actually transfer the call to the inbox, so it'll ring everybody, and whoever can get it can get it. One quick note of caution: I know this happened with Google, and I assume it would happen with other. If somebody sends the call to voicemail manually, that can sometimes be an issue. Has that been tackled yet, Caroline, or is that still accurate? If one of the people being rung sends it to voicemail, I think it don't do
Right.
that.
Yep, that could send them to voicemail, and you know, the feature to like press 1 to answer, that will like directly tackle that. So if you have any like, you know, culprits on the team that are doing that often, it would be great to turn on for them. You know, when they answer, it'll just say, you know, like press 1 to answer. So it really shouldn't affect the flow too much for them, but it's going to prevent that from happening. And, you know, with like particular sources, like with Google LSA, like we know those answer rates are like so important. So hopefully these improvements, you know, like definitely just up those answer rates for you.
Awesome. All right, mailing labels just in time for the holidays.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say just in time for the holidays. Yeah, so you know, with relationships, that's one of our like relatively new features. You know, you can add like a spouse to a contact profile. We hadn't yet married the mailing labels to the relationship, so that relationship wasn't it wasn't seen within the mailing label. So, you know, just in time for the holidays, we created the way to actually add those relationships to the mailing label. So I can demo this one
Yeah, that'd be
for
great.
us.
That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's important. You guys have, you're taking the time to input all of this information into Follow Up Boss. And so like, we obviously want to make it really easy for you to use it. And mailing labels is like a perfect example of that. So here we have a person with a spouse on their profile. And then I don't, you know, mailing labels is often used like, you know, a few times a year. So I'll just kind of give everyone a refresher in general. But what you'll do is you'll come to the people tab and you'll select who you want to create mailing labels for. So this was that profile that I was just on that has a relationship. And then, so we'll select them and we will click this mass actions icon. And then we're going to choose mailing label. So the new thing that you'll see here is we have this option to create a label for relationships. And so what that does, it's going to look for the relationship type of spouse, husband, or wife. And then when we click create mailing labels, it's going to honor both of their names in the name field here. And, you know, the idea is that like, we obviously want to keep both of them in the loop and, you know, just make sure that we're addressing them appropriately. So again, this person, there's the main contact Marcel and then the relationship Marcella. And so we see both of their first names here. And just another thing to note, if like you're looking to use this right away, if they have different last names, we'll still honor both of the last names in here. And yeah, we're going off of this type field. So we have these different types listed here. And so we'll do this combination for spouse, wife, or husband.
Great. So yeah, so the export, so mailing labels and exporting now for relationships, because I know that previously we weren't able to export the relationships, and that was a bit of an issue, whether you're pulling them in a different campaign or if you need to add them, you know, add them somewhere. So good question. I want to tackle real quick too on automating emails to both people in a relationship based on the birthday. So I know that's a question people have been asking.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have automations and they can be based off of different date fields. So what you'll want to do is have a like a date for each different relationship in there. So you can have like the primary birthday and then like a secondary birthday or like a relationship birthday. And those are going to be separate automations. And what I recommend, or what I think is like a really good use here, is maybe for the primary relationship, you can have that go as like an action plan and automated email. But for that secondary relationship or that like secondary date trigger, it's good to put that maybe in as like a task that's created. And that way you can always like manually schedule that email. And again, it provides you that opportunity to give them that like very personal touch. And if you want to, schedule it like a week ahead of time, it gives you time to like send out a card, that kind of thing. So that's kind of how I would handle that, those separate birthdays within one relationship or one contact.
Perfect. That's great. So, but now the ability to export those does create another level of, hey, I've got I know it's not tied to the birthday thing, but it creates another level of, hey, I can pull those separately, because before you just couldn't. So
Mhm.
that's fixed. I'll jump back to this. Well, I'll jump back to the slides, but can we demo mentions for teams and ponds?
Oh yeah, we
Before
can definitely jump into
before I
that.
go to the slide, I figured let's go ahead and show
Yeah,
how.
for sure. Yeah, so the next bit we can chat through is we added app mentions for both ponds and teams. So we've always had app mentions, and like what that looks like is you type the @ sign, and then previously you got a list of people on your team. And you could add a note and say, hey, like what's the status update on this person? And that would send them a notification. But what we are finding is that like oftentimes people are really wanting to um, ask a question or notify an entire team or an entire pond at the same time. So instead of having to add a bunch of different people, we added the option to just add the pond or add a team all at once. So when you click the @ sign now you'll see your ponds first, and they have this little pond icon or this little fish icon. And then you'll see all of your teams. So this would be like an ISA team. So this is like really great to use and say like, hey, ISA team, like, let's try to get in touch with this person this week, for example. The other thing to mention here is that if someone doesn't have access to the lead and they're in the team, we're going to add them as a collaborator. So same as if you were to mention them individually, but wanted to make a note of that. You don't have to like be concerned about who has access or who doesn't. We'll go ahead and add everyone as a collaborator if they don't already have access to them.
Cool. That's an important point. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I actually didn't know the answer to that. So I'm glad to know that, because yeah, good point. If you're going to notify somebody that, hey, look at this lead, they're obviously going to have access to be able to see that lead. So
Yeah, exactly.
of course, if they're in a pond, they're going to see it. So all right, great. You know what? I mean, we've got some great slides for this, but I think the next thing is also a demo.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at the custom field, some of the custom field edits?
Yeah, definitely. So this quarter we made some like general, I'll call them quality of life improvements to custom fields. And really like a lot of these were driven by your feedback. Like, we started to see some trends of like, hey, like why does custom fields work this way? And it was a great opportunity for us to review that and be like, yeah, you're right, that should probably work a different way. So yeah, like I said, just some like general quality of life things here. The first thing that we did is we added the option for you to set a custom field back to empty. So this was definitely a bit of a headache or a pain point, but previously, like once you selected a custom field drop-down option, you couldn't set it back to empty. You would have to choose a different thing. So what we've done is we've simply added the option to set this back to empty. And this is great because these are used in your different smart lists, and now you're not having to manage like adding an empty option in there, things like that. So, kind of a small improvement, but yeah, quality of life improvement for sure. The next thing that we did with custom fields, so I'll jump to the custom fields page and just so everyone knows, custom fields page is only accessible for account owners. So you might not see this if you're not an account owner, but the next thing we did with custom fields that have drop downs is we gave you the option to reorder them. Previously, they were kind of stuck in this order. So if you wanted to add a new option and have that new option be at the top, you were a little bit out of luck. So now we can just very easily reorder these by dragging and dropping them. The last piece we did here is we also gave you the option to rename these without losing any info. So if you want to just update the name, that is no problem now. You can just update it right in here, and again, just reorder them. So kind of some small changes, but hopefully this improves how you're using custom fields, especially the ones with the drop downs right now.
Yeah, that's really good. The integrity of the data there is obviously the really important thing. Just the fact that you can edit it, change name, add somebody else, and that's all still there. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's super great. I think I'm a big fan of the custom fields. I know a lot of people were starting to use these a lot more around some webinars that happened around the conversion summit as well, to continue to collect data on people, if they were pre-approved or not, or things like that. So keep throwing us great custom field things. And one more quick thing, and then I'll flip back to the slides. But the read only checkbox there.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it when you chatted about data integrity. So the last thing we did with custom fields is we added the option to make these custom fields read only, which means that the field is kind of locked down for agents and for the lender roles. So just to make sure that you can keep your like most important data protected and intact, you can mark these fields read only. And the way that that works on like the profile is if you're an admin or the account owner, it's business as usual. You can come in and you can edit these. But if you are an agent, you can see the value and you can even very easily copy it, but you're not going to be able to edit the value. So you can add that option to new fields and any of your existing ones as well.
Great. That's awesome. Cool. I'll hop back to the slides real quick. So many clicks. All right, there we go. We tackled that. And we talked dimensions for pawns, custom fields. All right, Android. Actually, I've got always share. Do we not have a slide for always share? I've got always share emails next.
Oh yeah, we can definitely touch on that.
Cool.
So the other, it's kind of a small improvement, maybe not super noticeable, but it is also like really powerful at the same time, is we've updated the email sharing options, so that if an email originates from Follow Up Boss, it's always going to be shared from the timeline. And the problem that this was like, there's a variety of problems it solves, but one in particular that we were hearing a lot about was if a lead was in a pond and was being worked in a pond by various agents, and then someone claimed that lead, the emails from the various agents would no longer be shared. And so the person that is now working the lead wouldn't really have that complete timeline there. So what we've done is if you're sending the email from Follow Up Boss, it's going to be shared, and anyone with access to the profile is going to be able to see that. So it's just going to start to fill some of those gaps that maybe you've previously seen.
Great. And you said it, but I want to reiterate it. Emails originated in Follow Up Boss. So if it's an action plan, if it's typed in Follow Up Boss, but it has to be generated inside of Follow Up Boss for that to be the case.
Exactly.
All right, now Android caller ID.
Yes, this one is for all of our Android friends out there. Android now has caller ID, which is awesome. Obviously it's super important when you have an inbound call coming in that that it's one of your Follow Up Boss leads that are giving you a call. So that way you can, answer the call appropriately, you can prioritize the call. And just make sure you're answering it quickly and not filtering it out because you think it is spam or something like that. So thank you to all the Android folks out there who have been patient in this, but we're really excited that this is finally ready for you guys.
Cool. And I don't know if there's an article, if one of you guys could drop an article in the chat. I mean, it's pretty simple to set up, but we can make sure we've got that article just so people know how to click through. And similarly, this has been available on iPhone, but on iPhone, you do have to go into settings on the Follow Up Boss app. That will then, if you don't have it on there, it'll drop you into your actual settings on the iPhone to allow Follow Up Boss notifications before you can officially turn it on or before it officially work. So, but another good end of year thing, make sure you got your caller ID set up right. So you know when you have a lead calling and what lead that is. All right, avatars.
Yes, this is a great one. So you've maybe noticed that there are now little pictures of yourself and your teammates that you are seeing in the timeline and in Follow Up Boss on both the desktop and on the mobile apps. And one of the reasons we created this is that you can just more easily scan some of these pages. It's meant to kind of break things up, and if I'm, logging in and I know Lee added a note for me, I can like quickly scan for his picture. So there should just be some like better, user experience baked in here. But also, there's like a team aspect of this too. Kind of have, that team feel, and you can see your teammates and working on the same leads. And just get that kind of like stronger sense of like connection and like recognize each person. Like internally, we obviously use Follow Up Boss internally, and we all have different avatars, and some of us are like the Simpsons characters, and it definitely just like adds to that camaraderie. So definitely some, make this a little bit easier to scan these pages, but a fun team aspect as well.
Awesome. Yeah, and even to add on to that, you can even see it in real time. So if somebody's looking at the record right then and there at the same time as you, I've had this actually a fair bit this week, where I'm like, oh, well, somebody else is looking at this contact record now. Or if you mention somebody, especially if it's an ISA or somebody on staff who should get to it quickly, you can actually have a little bit of intel into that as well. It's kind of like in Google Docs where you see that there's multiple people in the doc. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
really
a
cool.
great point. Yeah, we have that presence to show you like who's on that same profile, and that is super helpful. And you can, if you can collaborate, just a little more real time in that way.
Awesome. So I think those are the main key things. If you guys have questions, keep dropping them in. You guys are doing a great job of questions. And you guys, thank you, are doing a great job of answering questions. But now we're going to look at, well, here's a recap. So it's just a list of what's there. But now, look at what's to come.
Yeah, so we've got some really exciting things coming. And, again, like this is all driven off of your feedback. So appreciative of that. But the next thing that we're working on is call waiting. So right now, if you're on a phone call in Follow Up Boss, like if you're on the app and someone else is calling in, we're sending them to voicemail because we don't have that call waiting feature. So we've heard from a lot of you that it would be really good to know if another call is coming in, so that you can prioritize that call. Similar to how you do on like your regular cell phone, you can make that decision like, oh, this person's calling in, I really need to talk to them, hang up one phone call, etc. So we're really excited to bring that to the desktop app, so that you guys can, just manage those multiple calls and that high call volume a little bit easier.
Awesome.
Yeah, the next one here is really exciting, is exporting reports. This one I'm super excited about this one because we've gotten so much awesome feedback from you guys about what you'd like to see in reporting, and like all these like really awesome, like intricate ways that you guys are using data for coming out of Follow Up Boss. So, some of you are wanting to put it into like data visualization programs, like some of it is like more just like motivation oriented. But either way, like we think it's awesome what you're doing, and we want to make that easier for you guys. So what we're working on is giving you the ability to just easily export some of these numbers so that you can, slice the data any which way you'd like, and definitely keep us in the loop. Like tell us like what really exciting things you're wanting to do. And we love to hear that. So exporting reports coming your way soon.
Awesome. Yeah. And I just want to give you guys props for all the awesome improvements to reporting over this year. There's been a lot of great things. I know there's more to come, but really excited. I've been really digging into reporting, and it's great stuff. So you guys keep doing what you're doing.
Cool.
And speaking of the ability to dig into deal filters, I know I've been big on this one. I'm excited to see this come.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one too, because like right now you can really look at your deals from the deal page, and then you can look at deals from reporting. But like kind of one of those like key pieces that were missing was like the bridge to like with all of the people that the deals are attached to. So what we're working on now is bringing deals into the people table. And in doing that, we're adding deal columns and then like deal filters within the people table. So that's going to give you the ability to like make smart lists based off of particular deal stages, or deals in a particular price range or time frame. And that way you can not only like make smart lists, but then like mass action some of these folks, or like click through the folks more easily that are like all in the same deal stage and get a status update on each one of them. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I think it'll be really, really useful.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited for that. And I know especially Renee Funk has been asking for blur mode. Renee, it's coming. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, excited about blur mode too. You've probably seen us use it before, because we often will use it on our webinars or when we're demoing to you guys. But the idea is to, if you're wanting to demo, whether that's because you're maybe training a new agent, or you're showing off a workflow, or one of those various reasons, we want to make sure that any like real lead data that's should be kept private is kept private. So with this blur mode, what it's going to do is like blur out phone numbers, email addresses, home addresses, communications, that kind of thing. That way you're free to share your screen without being concerned about someone taking a screenshot, recording, that kind of thing. So, there is important information in there, but we don't want that to prevent you guys from screen sharing. So that's the blur mode that's coming soon.
Yeah, that's really great. And I think to your point too, even just for internal team trainings or things like that, every time I do it, I feel bad because I pull up an admin or an owner account and it's got everybody's leads right there, even though it's their leads.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like, all right, well, here's everybody's account. And if you're recording it, you don't know where that's going to go. So that'll be great. And Meg had a great question too about if it'll blur the deal panel on the right hand side where it shows like their current or past deals.
Yeah, so right now this is kind of like in progress. So that's like really great feedback that we like to hear about, and we'll jump into the roadmap, but these are things that you'll see under like our working on section. And if you ever have feedback on things that we're working on, like this is definitely the time to do it. So that's great feedback, and we can.
Good, and it's also the time for roadmap. So
yeah, exactly. And I just baked
I'll
that
let you take it
segue right
over.
in. So yeah, I'll share my screen here. Something relatively new that we've come up with is publishing our roadmap. Lost my screen share button. Sorry, 1 second.
No, it's all good.
Okay. Okay, so here, and like when you're logged into your Follow Up Boss account, here in the top right, you'll see your avatar, which we talked about earlier. And if you click on that, you're going to see the option for roadmap. So this is something relatively new that we've like started to publish this. Like we've always used this internally, but we wanted to make this like front and center for you guys. So this is actually our roadmap. It's broken out into web, iPhone, and Android. And you're going to see these same like sections under each one. So we have our section of under consideration, working on. These are going to be the things that are coming soon. So you'll see like the call waiting, for example, and then the things that we've recently launched. So with the recently launched, if you're seeing something new or you have questions, this is a great place to check. You can look at these, and we usually have links to, how it works to give you more info. Working on, this is the stuff that's like in progress. And I was going to see if we could find blur mode in here. I'm not sure if it's in here yet, but either way, you can click on one of these, review kind of like what we're thinking about doing. And then you can mark these like as important or nice to have or critical, and, add additional feedback so that, you can definitely like weigh in on like how we're building this. And, as I mentioned before, like we review this all the time. This is like uber important to us. So that's the working on section. And then here at the front, we have under consideration. And these are the things that are kind of like our new ideas, or things that are like a little like further back, or we're still kind of trying to sort out like how it works. So if you have a new idea that you would really like to see, this is like a really great place to give us that feedback. And then of course you can scan through here and see like what other people are kind of looking for. Oh, there's our blur mode. So you can see, what other people have suggested, and then weigh in on that as well. And so, yeah, that's the roadmap. But yeah, I cannot emphasize how important it is to us to receive this information, and how valuable it is when we're making those decisions about what to build and how to build it. So definitely keep that coming. And if you submit some feedback, don't be surprised if we reach out for more information, because like you guys are just a wealth of knowledge for us. So
Yeah, and I was just going to say the same, just adding some of that detail in there. It asks for a use case. I think when you click on, or not for a use case, but asks for notes. But you guys giving intel around, it would be great if an appointment outcome could trigger an automation so that we could send a follow-up or reassign the lead or whatever. I think the more some of that intent of what you're trying to do can be given, the more it helps the actual product team to say, oh, cool, we have that thing, and then it does this thing. Oh, right. So it would need to have these other features, or it would need to become a column, or it would need to otherwise be built. So I think the more detail you guys can give on how you would use it, the more it really helps. I love this feature. I find that I go in here and I see some in here I've already upvoted, and some are critical.
yeah.
But yeah, and Adrian, I appreciate that. The definitely the appointment outcome is one. Adrian, I'll challenge you to go in and upvote that in roadmap.
Yeah,
All right,
any
cool.
context that you guys can provide just is super helpful to us. So like, how you'd use it and when you'd use it, like that, just, yeah, invaluable information.
Perfect. And let's stay here with you, Sharon, Caroline, because I want to go to Academy. So
yeah,
I'll talk through that. If you can just show us where to find it. So the question mark is your friend. You can go here, click on Follow Boss Academy, and it is going to open you into the Follow Boss Academy. So the main things that you're going to want to find here or access to here is the Follow Boss 101, which is a really great course, something you should add to your onboarding, something you can use. You could even have your existing agents come back and take a look at this. There may be some things in this that either have changed or additional features, but you should absolutely put this Follow Boss 101 into your team training. It's a really great feature. What you'll do if you want to go in to find it, you'll click, like I said before, you'll click view here, and you are going to have to enroll. It's free, but you have to click enroll in order to get going here. So just click through the blue buttons. Everyone on your team does have access to this, but they'll just want to log in through their own account. So hit the question mark, Follow Boss Academy, select the course, and then hit enroll. So I can't say enough about how great this course is for either people brand new, onboarding new agents, or even just getting your current people up to speed. This could be a great thing to bake into some business planning or bake into some team accountability type of things. Melissa, that's a great question. How long does the course take? I mean, the videos are pretty quick. Memory tells me they're about, Caroline, can you go back to have times once we're enrolled? Most of them are 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, they're pretty fast. That's where I used to say it there. It's probably a 30 to 45 minute course. I mean, it's not a heavy, okay, so that one's 5, but that's logging in for the first time. So it's pretty quick. It's not a major endeavor. You could certainly do it within an afternoon. And it does, part of the beauty of being logged in is it does keep you where you're at in the course. So if you watch 2 videos and then go away and then come back, it keeps your place. So, but it's not a massive, I think sometimes we say take a course, people, think it's like a couple of day endeavor. It's pretty straight ahead. Also want to tackle Dale's Conversion University. This is an unbelievable resource. Now, this is not an afternoon's worth of material. It is much more. But There are scripts in there. There are tons of great videos, resources for all levels and all types. Yeah, even these videos are broken down by lead type. This is a fantastic resource that's also free to all Follow Up Boss users. So just an unbelievable amount of stuff and scripts and materials. There are even some materials you can use internally with your team, like things you could print out for while people are on calls to access, not just scripts, but I don't know what you would call them. They're just really simple kind of reminder sheets of kind of mapping out the call. So, and then there's also links to prior live recordings that Dale has done. Where are those? What are those called? I think they're on the slide, but. And then the Conversion Summit is also really great. One pro tip on this, each of these courses, as you're on them in Conversion Summit, they have a list of resources below them. So there are a lot of people looking for Renee's post-closing action plan. It's actually in the link. You can go ahead and hit start on this one, Caroline, so we can show people. Each of these courses has some resources. See if it will let you jump ahead. I think it will. So I think, yeah, so starting here, there's a bunch of resources below here, including the slide deck, some integrations, things that are referenced in the video. So there's just an unbelievable amount of things in the Academy. And word on the street is that there's more coming. So keep your eyes peeled. Awesome. Thank you, Nina. I see that some of them are in the course or links to the webinars. So there's the recordings of Dale's past sessions was the other thing that I was looking for. So, all right, cool. It's a lot of stuff. Let's see what we have next. Let me share back super quick. So just a couple more quick things. Really appreciate you guys dropping all your questions in so we can get those tackled for you. Just wanted to mention the Follow Up Boss YouTube channel again. We'll drop a link into the chat. But the Follow Up Boss YouTube channel has an unbelievable amount of resources on it. I would specifically recommend looking for the playlists because there's playlists for office hours, there's playlists for bosses in action, there's playlists for product updates. There's even a super quick version of that where you can just watch some 50-second to 2-minute videos on here's how team inboxes work, here's how call list works, here's how specific features work. There's really just an unbelievable amount of information there on the channel. One thing you might do too, be sure you subscribe. And if you're not familiar with it, there's a little bell icon. You can see it here in the slide next to subscribe. If you click on that, it'll allow you to set up to where you will get alerts every time there's a new video posted. So for example, office hours recordings or product update recordings, you'll just get a little notification there in YouTube that there's a new video from Follow Up Boss. So I definitely recommend turning on notifications there as well. And I think that's it. That's a lot of stuff and a lot more great stuff to come.
Yeah, hopefully we've given you a lot to think about and then a lot to go and try out today, which will be cool.
You guys have been great. There have been so many great questions in the chat and in the Q&A. We really, really appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys all showing up. And Caroline, thanks again for always just bringing a wealth of knowledge and tackling my crazy questions.
Yeah, you bet. And thank you everyone for, just like such a wonderful year and all your feedback and leaning into the Follow Up Boss success community and such. And, we really couldn't do it without you. So super appreciative.
All right. Well, you guys all have a great holiday and we look forward to seeing you in the new year.
All right. Thanks.